I think most people would agree that TV news is continuing to occupy a smaller and smaller piece of the media pie. The head of research for one of the broadcast networks actually told me in an interview for the book that he believes that eventually at least one, if not all of the major traditional networks will go out of the business of producing news. So we really see a migration away from what used to be the most prestigious role to have on television, and that was the news spot, to all of these famous people who now are going to occupy the daytime talk show role. Generally speaking, American journalists tend to be resistant to change and slow to adapt. But the good news is that eventually, very gradually over time, they do. We've seen major breaking news stories broken by citizen journalists. And the large traditional news outlets have relatively quickly learned that they need to figure out a way to make use of this. This is not something entirely new, this idea of crowdsourcing the news, or at least trying to give the feeling to viewers or audience members of participation. This has worked to varying degrees when it's perceived as being sincere and a really sincere attempt to incorporate the interests of audience members. I think it can go over well, but there have been other times when it's been perceived as just another strategy, kind of another stunt to try to increase ratings or subscriptions. We are in a culture, an American culture, that shies away from disagreement. People are afraid of it, they dislike it, they think it's unpleasant, but I think that's also being perpetuated by what we see portrayed, especially on these opinionated TV news shows. So I wish, and I would really like to see the idea given that just mere disagreement doesn't have to be unpleasant if it's done courteously, transparently. You say where you're coming from, what your point of view is. So I think transparency is key, civility of tone and moderation used. And I think if those things could be kept in mind, then again, this hybrid landscape of news could be more effective.